Welcome, everybody. Welcome. My name is Greg Drobny. This is Kayla with me here. We're starting off our third, I believe it's our third coffee and Code Platoon session. And the idea here is to be super casual. We're not doing any kind of presentation. We are just here to talk to you. Anybody who signs up, we'll probably have people coming in later. And we're here to answer questions. That's literally the entire purpose of this, is to have a conversation open to anyone and everyone who wants to know more about Code Platoon. Again, like I said, I'm Greg Drobny. I'm going to put my email in the chat. I'm the Student Recruitment and Outreach Manager for Code Platoon, and I'm typically the first person a lot of people talk to, so some of you may have already received emails from me. Kayla handles all of the things behind the scenes that make me look good. She does all the heavy lifting and makes all those emails actually come to life. So we are here to serve you. And yeah, does anybody have any questions right off the bat that they want to address, and we can kick this off?
Ooh, quickly, right before we get started, feel free to, when you have a question, either like turn on your microphone and say it or put it in the chat. We don't require cameras on or off or microphone on or off. Whatever you're comfortable with is fine. But if you are waiting to like speak up and ask a question and someone's been talking a while, just like pop something in the chat so I know to call on you. But aside from that, yeah, it seems like Ron, you had something you want to get started.
Yeah, hello everyone. Real quick, first thing that comes to mind with the application, now for veteran benefits, I'm looking at using, since I'm going to be doing distance learning, the VRNE. Now, since I am in the quick pass right now, but also I know the application deadline is shortly after beginning or end of next week, basically. If I'm not accepted into VRNE, are we able to work with the benefits or trying to get that process as long as I get an update? Or because I have my COE from GI Bill and I've been using that for college courses, but I've recently did the application for VRNE, and that's besides that and scholarships I know are the only methods of funding for Code Platoon right now.
Yeah, so a couple things on that. First of all, you don't need your VRNE approval from your counselor in order to be accepted. So we don't have to have that. That has no bearing on your acceptance whatsoever. So you could theoretically get accepted, and then we still have a couple of weeks to get that VRNE squared away. This is where Tish, our enrollment specialist coordinator, she comes in. And she is the guru on all things funding related. I kind of can give you the general overview. But basically what she would have you do in that instance. So let's say that happens where you pass, you get accepted, but VRNE has not come back with an approval yet. What she would do is push forward on both VRNE and scholarships. And she would have you just fill out the simple form for scholarships in the event that we can't get VRNE in time. And that way, at least, we never let tuition be a barrier. Put it that way. Like tuition is not, some people don't want to attend if they don't get the living stipend that comes with something like VRNE, but we don't let tuition itself be a barrier. So scholarships are going to be, we're going to pursue that as well. Now, GI Bill is dependent entirely on whether or not you can attend in person. So the only way we can use GI Bill right now, and in the future, this might not be the case, but for right now, the only way you can use it is if you attend in person. So yeah, absolutely. We would continue pushing forward. We explore all of those options. I don't know. I would have to talk to Tish and find out what her drop dead date is as far as VRNE approval. I don't know if it's like the day before the course starts or a week before, you know what I mean? Like we would have to find out for sure, but I know that we've pushed some of those things right up to the edge in the past. So we would keep pushing forward with it as the bottom line and just offer up as many options as we could. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And that's kind of just been my worry if I'm obviously not accepted by course date, which is a month from now, or start date. And then I guess just finding other options for funding, which would be the scholarships, which I have Tish's email too, and I'll reach out to her. And once I finish up the application, just trying to, hone the skills or feel comfortable with the Coder Byte challenges before I fully submit. So, and
yeah,
by chance, we spoke with, I think it was Guillermo yesterday. or on Wednesday. I don't think the question was asked, and I slipped my mind at the time. Do you know, say if you don't get enough points for the quarter bite, are you able to attempt again, or is it a one and done type of thing?
You can attempt
You're
as
always
many-
allowed to reattempt as long as it's not like past the application deadline. So if
Okay.
you start early and you don't pass, just try again. I believe even Guillermo will like reach out to you if you don't pass and tell you what you need to improve. So you'll have
Mhm.
like some guide to like continue on there.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, he'll usually give people feedback, especially if they're close. You know, let's use the typical grading analogy. If you're at like a 60% and you need to be at a 70 to 75, he's going to tell you like it might be one thing, but it might be that one thing that you're missing to get you there, if that makes sense. It might be like, hey, check your syntax on this type of problem, you know, or something like that. So yeah, absolutely. If there's enough time, like Kayla said, he'll give you feedback, and you can try as many times as you want. I tell people all the time, there are no negative points for trying at Code
Okay,
Platoon.
cool. Awesome. Thank you so
And
much.
you also don't have to complete them all in one sitting. I know that's a
Mhm.
common misconception we get. It seems like you knew that already, but just in case you didn't, you can come back later if you need to.
Awesome. Thank you, Kayla.
Yeah. Murad, good to see you again.
Good to
Welcome.
see you guys. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
I'm very excited to see you today. I just joined the meeting just to see you guys. And really mentioning how much I'm worried about the life assessment. I'm studying very hard right now.
Yeah.
I took the advice that just listen to Aaron. So I stopped. I was almost finished the JavaScript, but with Aaron, I found he said we will use the Python anyway, okay, and the code. So, and Python is easier. So I start over from the scratch with a new language. But I almost done. I almost finished it. Yeah.
Awesome.
And for me, it's to be or not to be. I will pass this life assessment. No, seriously, but I'm very, very worried about the life assessment because they said because in the code challenge, I can pass it very easy because you can search and they give you like search box. Okay. So you can very easy to pass it. But the life assessment, they said there is no search. You cannot search anything. And that's what makes me feel worried because, it's very short time to study like the whole Python in 2 weeks. And the same time, you have to remember all the methods on everything, and connect it together and solve the problem without any searching is not easy. Yeah.
So just a quick thought on that. And for those who are coming in here and they're not aware of what's going on, what Murad is talking about is when you apply to Code Platoon, you finish your coding challenges. If you are offered an acceptance, one of the things that you'll be given is a live technical assessment. But I'm going to share here what Guillermo, the instructor who evaluates those live assessments, he tells everyone. Number one, if you did not cheat on the coding challenges, if you did the work yourself, you really don't have anything to worry about because it's not going to be over anything different. It's not going to cover new material. It's not another level higher than your coding challenges. It really is to determine whether or not somebody used something like ChatGPT to pass the coding challenges. That's our main goal. And believe me, he can tell very quickly. So if someone used something like an LLM, a large language model, to cheat their way through the application challenges, and then they come and sit down at the live technical, he'll figure that out in about 2 seconds. Like it will be his first question that he'll be able to figure that out. Really what he's looking for is, do you understand what you did to pass the coding challenges and make sure that you didn't cheat to do it? As long as you can honestly say, yes, I understand what I was doing, I understood how I answered these questions, you should be fine. Because again, it's not at a higher level. It's not a different set of problems. Like it's just not. He really wants to ensure that people really understand what they're doing to get into the program. Because again, I'll be fully transparent. You can plug those coding challenges into ChatGPT and have it solved in like 30 minutes. You could do the whole application challenge. I'll tell you right now, you can. Secrets out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to figure that out in the live technical assessment. So that's really the goal, is to avoid, you know, anybody getting past the system and kind of, because ultimately what you're doing is you're cheating yourself, right? You're not learning the actual, just like if I were to apply,
Exactly. Yeah.
if I were to apply before I went overseas, if I were to, you know, try to learn Arabic and I use ChatGPT to teach me how to speak Arabic, I'm going to get on the ground in a place like Tikrit, and they're going to be like, what are you saying? What are you doing? Right? I would be outed immediately that I don't actually understand Arabic. Same thing here. That's really our goal, is to make sure that people are not cheating. So again, as long as you're actually learning the material, you know what you're talking about, you should be just fine.
And you know what, Greg? Really, my goal, okay, is to pass this code challenge and the life assessment without any help, because if I didn't feel I can do it, so no need for this. You know what I mean? No, seriously, yeah. If
Well,
I can, so
you'll go beyond that
be,
in the program for sure.
yeah. You know what? My wife, she's a programmer. Okay, she's very easy to do it, and she was in the Code Platoon before. Okay, and she's studying now in default. She can help me, but she could help me to finish the code challenge. Okay, and just submit it and apply before, you know, no life assessment, because some people, they already submitted the challenge before the deadline. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they passed. Okay, there's no life assessment. But for me, I want to go through this test. Am I able to? I'm always studying. Okay.
Sure. No,
All my life, but
just to correct one thing you said, everyone gets a live assessment. Even the people who applied before the deadline will have the live assessment.
they get live assessment. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Yeah, because they didn't mention that. Yeah.
With Quick Pass, what we're doing is we're just shortening the process. We're kind of cutting out some of the length to it, and we're just combining it all in a very short period of time.
That's very fair. Yeah, that's fair.
For the exact same reason. Because again, like I said, being fully transparent, yes, you can cheat on these exams or the application challenges. It's not going to get you very far, is the problem.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, I know we saw somebody came in a little bit late, so.
Yeah, I have a question. So, I plan on applying for the October course. I get out of the Marine Corps in August. What, would I need 100% in-person attendance in order to qualify for the GI Bill?
Yeah, for GI Bill specifically, yes, you would need to attend in person. But if
Okay.
you're not, are you going to be doing this via SkillBridge?
No, my battalion, they're really finicky with skill bridges. The policy won't allow me to be able to attend a skill bridge.
Fair. Okay. Good to know. So yes, for in-person attendance, you do need, or I'm sorry, for GI Bill, to use GI Bill, you would need to be in person. However, for those who can't attend in person, we do have scholarships specifically for you. So our scholarships, for everyone's awareness, cover between 80 and 100% of the tuition, depending on what you qualify for. But let's imagine a situation in which you only qualify for the 80% tuition. Even if that is the case, it's not like the other 20% is due up front. It's not even due upon graduation. We work with everyone to make sure that this is affordable for you. So don't let tuition be a barrier to attending. But yeah, in terms of the living stipend situation and all of that, yeah, you would need to attend in person if you wanted to use the GI Bill.
I appreciate that. Also, I came unprepared. What would be the timelines for that October course, as far as putting in the application, completing the test, and then so on with other requirements?
So first of all, you're planning to do the full-time October course, right? Because we have one starting that's evening and weekend in October and one that's full-time. So just to make sure
Yes, the full-time course.
Full-time one. Yeah. Okay. So the application for that one, that's Yankee Platoon, is August 4th. So that would be submitting the coding challenges, and then you would take the technical assessment after the application deadline. So all you would have to worry about, and Greg, you can chime in if you want to expound. I lost my word there. If you want to like add more detail about anything.
Yeah,
So
and
pass
if
the
you're
coding challenges.
if you're coming to this, even so, if you're applying to the October 7 cohort, which is Yankee Platoon, like Kayla said, August 4 is the application deadline for having your video, your essays, and your coding challenges. I tell people at this stage, let's see, what is this? April 26th. Even if you had never sat down and written a line of code in your life, that is enough time. That you do have enough time to prepare between now and that deadline. That should be plenty of time, as long as you can dedicate an hour to 2 hours a day to this. Really, that's more than enough time to get ready by that time. So you're well ahead of the game if you're preparing for that October cohort. Yeah, you have a lot, and you can apply early, and we can get you accepted early too. You don't have to wait for that deadline to be accepted.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That tends to be very special, especially for people who are getting out of the military. Like, we know that you've got to plan some things out. Like I remember what that's like, is figuring out like, where am I going to live? What am I going to do?
Yeah,
All of
absolutely.
those things are all kind of up in the air about this period where you're like, I don't know where I'm going. So we should, at any rate, if you can apply early, we'll absolutely get you accepted early and try to finalize some of those things. And like we were talking about earlier, that's where another benefit of applying early is that I'm not saying you wouldn't have the ability, but if you didn't quite do well enough, you didn't quite meet the standard, you'll have a chance to reapply and continue trying. And those people, for the record, people who don't quite make it and then evaluate what the instructor tells them and apply it are almost always accepted. So people who get, like, let's, again, using that analogy, you got like a 60%, the instructor gives you some feedback. The people who follow that feedback are like 99.9% of the time accepted. So just stick with it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's tough. It's a tough skill. I know. I was just telling Kayla earlier this morning, my sons are homeschooled and they're trying to learn JavaScript. And I'm like, I don't know. I work at a coding school and this is hard, right? It's just not my field. It's not my skill set. So don't get me wrong. It is difficult, but if you stick with it, you'll get there.
Can I give him advice?
Absolutely. You've
Can I
been in this
advise
process
him?
now for a couple months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
listen,
ahead,
man.
Greg.
You have enough time, like how Greg said. Just don't be confused when you start to prepare yourself using their material, like the introductory course. Okay, when you start studying, when you start preparing yourself, don't be confused, because you start, for example, with the first lesson, solving problems, the second lesson, like the strings, okay, and the string methods, okay, and when you start solving the assessment for the first lesson for the strings, you will find the problem very confusing, because it will depend not only on what you studied in the strings. No, it will depend on some material or some lessons will come later, okay, like the loops, okay. So the loops, we studied loops in the text lesson, okay, lesson number 6, but you will use it in lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5. So don't worry, just keep taking, okay, just keep focusing, okay, and at the end you will see the whole picture completed, and you will feel, oh yeah, I could do it now. Okay, so don't give up from, why this problem, why this problem, why I don't understand this problem, okay. And when you study, okay, lesson by lesson, make sure not only rely on this material, because if the lesson is like 5 page or 6 page, they will give you page number 1, and page number 2 will be missing, and they will give you page number 3, and page number 4 will be, you know what I mean? Because they want you to search. Okay, this is the trick. When you study, try to focus on what's missing in this, okay, and take a look for what's missing, And don't worry about the problem, the assignment, because again, this assignment will not be easy until you finish lesson number 6. Okay, like that's my experience with the course. Like
Okay.
we use the loops, for loop and while loop, this thing, solving all the problem, okay, from lesson 1 to lesson 5. And then we studied loops at the end, right?
Mhm.
So don't be
Good
confused.
advice. And,
Just keep,
and
yeah,
Owen,
just keep going on. Yeah.
oh, and just for the record too, and for Kenneth, I know Ron and Murad are already in QuickPass, but for the rest of you and for the record, we have a lot of recorded video content on exactly these subjects. So it's not like we're just handing you intro to coding. You know, the link that I think I shared with you in an email earlier. If I didn't, please remind me later and I'll give it to you. But we have much more than just that intro to coding class. We have video series on YouTube of instructors walking through these problems and explaining them. So we've got hundreds of hours of content and extra help in addition to our Slack channels and various things. So don't think that this is just a matter of you sitting down by yourself and having to learn it all on your own. I think Ron he just shared the YouTube channel in the chat, which is great. Kenneth, I see that you had your hand raised. What question do you have? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Hello.
There we go. Hello.
Okay, you guys can see me.
Yeah.
I'm finally on video. I won't be
There we
rude.
go.
Okay. I
Come
do
over.
have 2 quick questions, right?
Yep.
So my first question
What?
is, oh, somebody
Mur-
said.
Murad, can you
Yeah.
mute?
Here, I'll mute
Murad,
him.
can
Yeah,
you
I'm
mute?
sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, so my first question is for if I want to be like a evening student / weekend student, do I still qualify for scholarships?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then my second question is, so I'm already working, I already have a job, and my company offers tuition reimbursement.
Okay.
Do you guys also take tuition reimbursement?
I don't know that we ever have in the past. I would love to say yes, because that would be awesome. But
Mhm.
I'm going to have to put you in touch with Tish on that one. Are you working with, let me ask you this. Are you working with like a MIRG, a military readiness group within your company, or is this just a blanket thing that your company offers?
This
Like-
is just, it's a blanket thing that they offer to everybody
Okay.
within the company.
The reason I ask is because we're trying to do a lot of outreach to some of these MIRG type groups. Like a lot of big companies have military like groups within their company of veterans who are all
Correct.
part of some group. And sometimes
Mhm.
they have something that we can work with and, do various things. I don't know that we've ever used tuition reimbursement, but what I can tell you is that from your perspective, from the student perspective, it probably wouldn't matter because we do the fundraising we do for these scholarships would cover either all or most of the tuition anyway. But
Okay.
we can certainly, I'll tell you what, I will email. Have you been in touch with us yet? Have you submitted your application?
No, I've been lazy, man. I need to get my act together about that. I kind of went halfway,
Sure.
I think I
tell you
did the first portion of the application and then I never did the challenges.
Okay.
So,
Email me, and you can see my email in the chat. Email me after this to remind me about that tuition assistance program, because it's definitely something we want to pursue and look more into. I just don't have a definitive answer for you. But what I'm going to do is I'll respond to you and CC Tish, our enrollment specialist, on that question, and she could have a more definitive answer. Because that's one, again, that's something that we need to try to figure out. We're just kind of breaking into that world of working with large companies who want their employees to upskill and things like that. It's kind of a new thing for us in 2024. So I would love to have a definitive answer for you. I don't right now, if that makes sense.
And I mean, the reason I was asking that question is because I was worried that maybe I would qualify for like 80% scholarship and then I have to cover the rest. But, if my company gives me $5,200 per year, I may as well apply that to you know, the uncovered portion, you know?
Sure.
So,
So part of that on your end might be a question that only you can answer. And the reason I say that is because you might have to approach your school with this program and say, you know, in that event. So let's imagine that you apply, you get accepted to Code Platoon, and we got you an 80% scholarship. It's entirely possible you could get it 100%, and this would become a moot point, right? But let's say that there's a situation where you get that 80% scholarship, you bring that to your company and you say, can you reimburse me for this amount? I don't know that, like, we might not be able to answer that definitively because each company has its own rules as far as what they will and will not reimburse. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. But I'm confident that my company will probably reimburse you guys if you guys accept, because there's a bunch of people that use it every year. It's 5,250 every year. And as long as you can prove that you passed the class, that's it, So
well, like most organizations, I think that we are in general in favor of accepting money. So
yeah.
I have a hard time believing that we'd say no. But like I said, it's not something we've done a lot because of those differences. Like, let's say somebody worked for some huge company like Google. Well, maybe Google only pays for certain things because they have to be companies that they've already vetted and, all of these kinds of things. Whereas this other company over here has a different set of stipulations. So every situation in that realm is going to be a little bit different, but again, we're happy to pursue it, and I don't see why not. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't accept that.
Yeah, and just to go back to your point about pursuing it, we have an organization for veterans at my company. So it's called Supporting Military Veterans. That's HCSC, and it has a lot of people, a lot of military veterans, and like people that are currently serving as reservists.
Okay.
So you guys might want to pursue it because our company supports veterans so much.
What company is this?
It's called HCSC, Healthcare Service Corporation. It's
Okay.
on Randolph. It's on Randolph Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And if you happen to talk to somebody higher up in that veteran group, in fact, that's one of the things I am trying to do is present to these veteran groups at companies exactly like what you're talking about. The problems that I've encountered are kind of what I was saying a minute ago, is that every company is different. Some companies literally have to have us pass like HR laws in order to present. Other companies say, sure, go ahead and do it. And other companies still will say things like, well, no, because we already have internal training. So it's a really weird mixed bag of whether or not, how that works. But if you have a contact, please share it with me.
I'll
Somebody to speak to.
I'll put you in touch with some people.
Yeah.
With the guy in charge of the leader of that organization in Chicago, at least, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
I would be happy to talk to that person.
Okay, cool.
While we're on the topic, I did message the tuition and enrollment coordinator while we were talking, just to see if we could get a quick answer back from her. And she said, while we don't currently have a procedure in place, she would be happy to work with your employer to complete any necessary paperwork they may require for reimbursement, if that was an avenue that was pursued. So.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Mostly what we do when it comes to, this is kind of a broad overview for everybody wanting to know. When we look at incoming money from corporations that we work with, in general, it's donation towards scholarships. So that's usually what we do, is we fundraise for these scholarships that we can give to future students. So, I don't know that we've ever, so my answer to that previous question was basically based on the fact that all of our incoming money is for scholarships in general. I don't know that we've ever had an incoming money for one specific person. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So in other words, I don't see why we wouldn't, but I don't want to step out of bounds here and say, yeah, totally. Maybe there's some weird legality there that I'm unaware of. Just in case, we'll talk to Tish. And like Kayla said, that it sounds like she's all in favor of it, which I figured she would be.
Okay. Well, thanks for answering my questions. Yeah.
And like I said, email me about that. And I would happily talk to that MERG leader, representative, whoever. I'm all about talking to people in those positions.
Okay.
Because I want to do more outreach effort in that regard anyway. So
I mean, even the whole scholarship issue could happen because we get involved in activities for veterans, you know, as a company. So they might just be like, hey, let's fundraise for scholarships for veterans. So, you
yeah, and
know,
especially if you're local, you said you're there in Chicago.
yes, Chicago, yeah.
So that's great. We would, I'm
Mhm.
sure that they could come and see our classroom and meet our leadership, whoever needs to speak with them. We can make that happen.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Any other questions from anyone? Not to cut you off, I know we've been talking for a while, wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I want to say something for everyone. Can I?
Of course.
Yeah, from my experience with Code Platoon, the last just 10 days, but you know what? If you want to study coding, okay, and you try to apply in any of those very famous places like UIC, MIT, or whatever, they will be very happy to just accept you and make you pay the money, and that's it. But in Code Platoon, the difference is while I'm preparing myself this 10 days, there is message always in my brain saying, no, seriously, I swear. With Code Platoon, you win before you end. This is the message that I always hear. You win before you end. You learn before even you start with us. So really, thank you. I want to know what's next. What when we start with you guys, how it gonna be look like? Of course, it will be different. Like how the start was different. I'm sure it will be different. Thank you.
Thank you, Moran. You should be a slogan writer for us, honestly.
Yeah, you're gonna end up getting a task with something when you graduate for sure. You're gonna be writing slogans or copy or something. For what
because I'm MBA holder, okay? I almost finished my MBA, my Master of Business Administration. So we study something called strategic management.
Yep.
And the first thing you study in the strategic management, how you make strategic plan. And the first thing, the strategic plan, how you create vision and mission for your company or your firm or whatever you're working in. But this really was from my heart. That's what I feel it. That's what I always hear it. Okay, in my brain. With you guys, you really win before even you end. So thank you. And that made me feel if I didn't pass, I would pass, inshallah. But I'm very worried. I'm very stressed out because I really want it. Yeah.
I think you're doing fine. But on the note of what Morad just said, for those of you who are new to this, a quick note on the skill set in general. And again, Ron and Morad are already in the program, so they're starting to see this. But for those of you just starting out, I think this is a really important point to stress. There are a lot of areas, and I just turned 50 years old last year, and I've done a lot of different things in this world. I can tell you that there are a lot of areas in life where you go through training or you go through schooling or you go through any number of things, and then you get to the job and you go, what the heck is this? Because this is not what the training was, right? It's like totally different. It's like when I joined the Army infantry, I thought, man, I'm going to be jumping out of planes and shooting people. Man, I was moving a mop and a broom more than I was doing anything else, right? I was spending an awful lot of time cleaning toilets. That wasn't what I thought I was signing up for. But the point is, coding, software engineering is one of the few areas where you can start to learn what it is you'll be doing right away. So when we offer you intro to coding, you start learning JavaScript and Python. This is the job. This isn't a bait and switch. We're not asking you to jump through a hoop so that you can then later, someday down the road, do this job. No, you're learning the fundamental tools of the job from day one. The second that you sit down and start to learn how to say hello world, you're building. Okay, I equate this to a language school all the time. If you want to go be a translator, At some level, you have to learn how to say, hello, my name is, and how are you in that foreign language, right? You have to learn the fundamental starting point of a conversation, but that is what being a translator is, right? It's not a switch. It's not like you're going to have to learn that. Okay, now I can go on to a different thing. No, that's what the job is of a translator. Same thing here. Software engineering, you get to learn it right off the bat. That has a lot of cool benefits, but one of them is for you to ask that question of yourself, is this really what I want to do? Is this actually the right path for me? And for some people, when they start doing it, it's like, no, this isn't for me. That's fine. That's okay. We want you to know that up front. And that's why we offer so much content free of charge, because we don't want you to be surprised. We don't want you to get into the cohort and go, man, I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no idea what this job was. No, you know right off the bat what you're getting into. It's going to be hard. It's going to be intense. But again, there's no tricks. There's no hoops to jump through. This is learning the fundamental skills right off the bat. I see we just had a new person join us, V. Welcome. And do you have any questions? This is a super casual format. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, or take your microphone off of mute and ask, or just hang out and listen. That's okay too. We're very casual here. It's a Friday, so by golly, you can ask anything. Well, maybe not anything. I mean, I guess you can, but it's a civilized.
No, I'm just here to check it out and stuff. Sorry about that. I got the time difference wrong. So, but I'm just here, getting some information.
This will be recorded, or is recorded, I should say, not will be, it is recorded, and it will go up on YouTube. And we also do have previous iterations of Coffee and Code Platoon from weeks past. So if you want to watch those, listen, and probably most of your questions will be answered through those. But again, if you have any specific questions and want to put it in the chat or something, feel free to do that. We were just talking about the application process and, learning the basic skills that you need to start this career. So really, and scholarships is a big topic of conversation. Covered that a little bit. I don't know. Did anybody else who's run, or Kenneth, Owen, did you have any more questions? Anybody?
Yeah, I have a question, but for Ron. Can I ask one question? Yeah, Ron, did you have the same feeling like me with when you start studying, like you will not have the whole figure, you will not see the whole picture until you reach the loops, right? That's what you face is the same thing, right? It was confusing all the time until you reach this point, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Or just me.
And I see myself go back, especially after last night. Like most of the day, I've been going back and attempting the exercises again and seeing, okay,
right?
How did I do it the first time compared to the new stuff that we learned? And then even on like day 1 and day 2, I'd be skipping ahead in further lessons to try to figure it out because I was stuck, right? And even on Replit, I mean, you can have, right, like the Chat GPT of Replit, but the AI on it, I wouldn't have it do the code. I would have it like explain it. If you right click it, it'll explain it a little bit more. And then I'd click out of that and then try something different or go back through the notes to figure it out a little bit more. But I felt the same exact way like the first day. And I was trying the Intro to Code self-paced course myself. And I'm also ending a semester right now in college. So I've been backed up with multiple classes and coursework throughout the semester. So that I had to bail on that. And then Greg invited me to the quick pass. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. I am ending the semester right now. So I've been a little lackluster on some of the stuff we have been doing, but now that I'm getting my assignments all finished up, I've just been, nose to the ground running right now, just trying to get it all done. That way we're all set for the upcoming thing. 'Cause that's my biggest thing. I'm going to be stopping college and then going full force into this, and hopefully this will set me on a new journey and see where it leads me to. So
yeah, absolutely.
And it made a big difference with you, right?
oh, definitely. Yeah, no.
Right? Yeah.
It definitely
Yeah,
helps
I know.
too. Like having an instructor. I mean, yes, we have the Slack. Like if you do the intro to coding self-paced course, you can ask questions there. But having the instructor explain it to you is just like a whole nother different feeling. Where you can, Aaron will go over previous lessons, courses. Like if we have extra time at the end, we'll go back through exercises. And even we did Code Wars the other night. Somebody had a different question on one of the challenges on there, and it's just been so much helpful comparative to researching and trying to figure it out yourself. Yes, you can do it that way, but it's having somebody to go to and teach you the information, somebody that's been doing it is, I think it's been the best. And like you said earlier, Code Platoon, yeah, you win right away. With all the resources they
No,
have
seriously,
too.
guys, you really deserve to be more known than that. Seriously, you are different. You have something different. We don't know what this, but there's something different.
Well,
Yeah. I wish if I would be with you guys. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'll offer just a quick thought on that, and this is for everyone's benefit. So I got out of the military in 2009, and I've worked with several veteran-centered organizations since then. I can tell you, I've been at Code Platoon 4.5 years now, and there's a reason. I didn't last that long at these other places, and there's a reason. Code Platoon, interestingly enough, was started by a person who never served in the military, Rod Levy. He was an immigrant, and he just had a heart for serving the military. And it is more veteran focused than any organization I've ever been a part of. I've worked for some other big name, like some names that people would recognize. I'm not going to badmouth them here, but I can tell you that when you get behind the curtain, the care is not really there. There isn't really that focus that you think. And here at Code Platoon, I can speak that I think nearly everyone in this organization genuinely believes in what we're doing here. And I think that is really one of the biggest differences that I've seen with Code Platoon compared to other veteran organizations, is that everyone here genuinely wants to see people succeed, which is really the core of the mission, right? Our mission is to give a viable skill to veterans so that they can work, right? Start a career, not just, hey, we're going to help you and we're going to take you camping and fishing. I know some of those groups, and they're well-meaning. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not. That's not giving you a skill to keep you going through the rest of your life. This is doing exactly that. That is taking people and saying, no, here's a viable skill. It's employable, and we want to see you launch a career. Yes, it's hard, and we're upfront about that, right? We're not sitting here handing out free stuff just to say, hey, here's free stuff, have fun. We're saying, hey, here's some free stuff. This is going to be a hard road. But as long as you're willing to walk that hard road, just like you did in the military, right? There's a lot of things we did in military training that were hard, but at the end of it, it was like, yeah, that was worth it. So same thing here. We're not trying to, we're not trying to just have a cool idea about helping veterans. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that effort in a lot of the vet space, but a lot of it is so vague and so open-ended that it doesn't have an actual product at the end where you can stamp your name on it and go, yes, I was part of this, I did this, and I've got this skill to go along with it. Code Platoon has an entire organization full of people who genuinely believe in doing that. And I think that's the difference. And I'm not saying there aren't any other veteran organizations out there. I'm just saying I've been a part of several that they just weren't. They didn't have that mentality. And even if they were well-meaning in the beginning, it ended up just kind of descending into chaotic. Yeah, we're vets. Okay, that's not a business plan, right? That's not really that's not an end goal. Just to say you're a veteran, that's not an end goal. So again, I think that's really the biggest difference. But that's my spiel, my soapbox on that particular subject. Any other questions?
These 2 weeks, I felt it like the first 2 weeks in the military, when you are civilian people and the military, that the aggressive change, okay, that's exactly what's happening with my brain the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's how it should be. It should be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
No question about it.
And you can expect it to continue to be that way in class. You'll learn so much.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And it'll, yeah.
The
I'm not,
analogy that,
I'm not gonna throw away my shot. Do you know this? Do you know Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton?
Mhm.
You know this song?
Throw
I'm not
away
gonna
my
throw away
shot?
my shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna throw away my shot.
An analogy that I heard a software engineer use once, they said, do you like solving puzzles? Now ask yourself, do you like solving puzzles in foreign languages? If the answer to both of those is yes, we've got a gig for you, right? That's what this is. But the analogy holds true because like what you were describing earlier about not understanding the whole picture, and then you get, you're struggling to find where those pieces fit, and then they do, and suddenly it's an aha moment. But that's your entire career as a software engineer. You have to enjoy that. You have to enjoy that like frustration of like, how does this fit together? And how does this work? And I don't understand. And aha. And you have those aha moments about once or twice a week. And that's what everybody seems to thrive on. So if you enjoy that, just keep going because there's no end. It's not like 2 years from now, it'll be totally easy. No, you'll just have a new set of problems at a bigger scale.
And some of those problems might be people that you manage,
Yep. And it usually is, in fact. That's where I come. That's more my specialty. Code escapes me. People I understand. Any other questions? No? Nothing?
No, I think that sums it up for me. I appreciate the answers for everything, guys, and the talks. I gotta go
Yeah.
take care of my little puppy now.
Hey.
Finish up my assignment so I can get back to it.
Yeah. Hey, I hear you on that. No worries. I've got 2 of them. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
go get it. And,
I have my little cat. Yeah.
Greg,
yes, sir.
is VetTech ever gonna come back or no? No.
No, I mean, we can't count on it right now. I'll give you my basic take on this. So it is the bill to make, and Ron, if you have to step out, go ahead. I mean,
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
so
go
much,
see you
guys.
around. Have a good one. You're
Have a good
welcome.
one, guys.
Bye.
Here's my basic take. VetTech, the bill to make VetTech permanent was passed by the House, and it was passed with overwhelming support. I think the actual vote was 409-9. So it's not a partisan issue. It's a overwhelmingly bipartisan support issue. It then went to the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, and it has sat there since last March.
Wow.
That's it. That's as much as anyone outside of that committee knows. The last meeting, that same Senate was supposed to have a committee hearing on the 17th, which was what, 9 days ago. 9 days ago, that Senate committee was supposed to meet and clear out a bunch of legislation. They canceled the committee hearing, did nothing. And if you look at their page now, there is absolutely no information on when they will meet again.
Wow.
My guess, and this is my speculation, so take that for what it's worth, is that it is tied up with other funding issues that have nothing whatsoever to do with veteran issues. So somebody at some level, they attached it to something else that has nothing to do with this. And that's why it's stalled and sitting and doing nothing. So the committee chair recently gave a public statement, and I think it was in an article, like they quoted him in an article saying how they're talking about it. This is like 2 weeks ago. I wish I could offer more than that, but that's as much as we know. So, I mean, at least it's being discussed, but, and it's been a killer for us too, because it was a pipeline for people finding out about us, right? That was one of the main ways that veterans even found out we existed, because they were getting out of the military. Everybody knows the GI Bill exists, right? GI Bill is like this ubiquitous thing that everybody knows about. VetTech was kind of this specialized thing. And so veterans are getting out and they're finding out, oh, there's this thing called VetTech. Well, what does VetTech do for me? And in asking that question, they start down this path of finding out that, entities like Code Platoon exist. Well, if VetTech goes away and nobody's talking about it, that means a huge avenue of approach for us is now gone. So it's not just a funding issue that has been taken from us. It's an entire avenue of approach. It's just like in military terms, it's like your entire route has now been cut and now you have to find a new route. So it's been a real downer for us in trying to figure out like, how do we now address this new reality? will it be a thing? Probably in the future. I think the question in my mind is just how long. Like, is it going to be this year, or is it going to be 2 years or 4 years? Like,
Mhm.
I'd say 4 to 5 years from now, I can almost guarantee there will be something similar to vet tech, probably. But that doesn't help.
Makes sense.
It doesn't
Okay.
help you, any of you, you know what I mean? Doesn't
Yeah.
help us now. So yeah, it probably will eventually pass, but how long? No idea. And I wish I did. I really do.
Because I was approved for vet tech, and then next thing I know, it's no longer existent. And
Mhm.
I'm like, man, you guys are killing me. Small, you know?
And here's the saddest part about that is that
Mhm.
it's always been known that vet tech was going to end this month. That's always been, it was planned. So vet tech was a pilot program. It was a 5-year pilot program, and its
Mhm.
original design was to end in April. Well, okay, that's fine. But once it was deemed successful, they should have had this plan in place like 2 years ago to
Mhm.
make it permanent, right? No, we can't do that. Right. So it's not
Oh
like
boy.
it was an unknown. It was not a situation where we're surprised by it ending. What the problem is that they didn't do anything about it coming to an end, which was known for its entire existence. So yeah, super frustrating on everybody's end, for you, for us, for everybody.
Makes sense.
But again, as I said earlier, like, don't let tuition be a barrier.
Yeah, that was one of my worries, but it looks like you guys have it covered. As long as somebody does well on those assessments and they prove they can fit in the classroom,
Yeah.
then I think it's pretty much guaranteed, you know?
We don't, yeah, we've said, and this has been a stance of Code Platoon since its inception, is don't worry about tuition. That's been Rod's goal since he started Code Platoon back in, was it 2016, 2015, I think,
Mhm.
was to make sure that it wasn't a cost prohibitive thing. We want this tuition or the program to be affordable or cost not to be a factor. So just keep pushing forward. I know that VA funding is a big deal because you get that living stipend. We
Mhm.
can't really address that with scholarships. There's a whole lot of legalities that go along with that and why that doesn't work.
Mhm.
But in terms of tuition, don't worry about that. Yeah, we'll do everything we can to make sure this is affordable for you.
Sounds good. Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think
Yeah.
we're coming up on the hour, so I don't know if, unless anybody else has anything pressing or any important questions. Owen, did you have?
Nope, I'm good. I appreciate you answering my questions.
And to reiterate, if you have more, email me.
Okay.
Definitely email me. We can jump on the phone if we need to, and Kenneth, be sure to email me about that, the corporate group that you are part of. I'm
Mhm.
happy to talk to them, happy to connect with the leadership there.
Okay.
Morad, great to see you again.
Good to see you guys. I'm so happy to see you today. Good to see
Good to
you.
see you. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. V, did you have any questions? Anything else?
No, I'm good to go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, thanks to everyone. Kayla, did you have any closing thoughts?
No. I'm a little worried Murad's gonna take my job after he graduates because he can really like type.
Never, ever, yeah. But I will be always supporting you guys. I will
We
be always
appreciate
like
it.
ambassador for you. And I wish if you really have another location like in New York, like in, you know what I mean? You really deserve that.
Thank you.
Someday we might be there.
Of course. Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Good to see you,
Thanks to
Khaled.
everyone. Thanks to everyone, and good luck to all of you. And like I said, email me if you have any other questions, but otherwise have a
Of
great
course.
weekend.
Thank you very much.